The world champion returns to the Champions League, but to a massive disappointment. From Kopama's masterclass to our defensive disaster class, as well as the 5 things we learned from Bayern 3, Chelsea 1. But before we dive into all that, first of all, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you know the drills. We're on the road to 10k subscribers. So like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into it. So let's talk about the starting 11 first. We went with Sanchez in goal, a back four of Chalobah, Tosin, Cucurella, Gusto. In midfield, it was Rich James alongside Caicedo. Then further up, we had Palma, Enzo, Neto, and Joao Pedro leading the line. Now on paper, this looked like a bold setup from Maresca. He clearly wanted control in midfield, with Enzo higher up the pitch, but the balance wasn't there. Bayern being Bayern punished every single mistake we made. Listen, this was really a frustrating watch. We went into Allianz Arena knowing how tough it would be, but the way we shot ourselves in the foot just made it worse. Bayern didn't need to be at their absolute best to beat us because we kept handing them opportunities. First goal just sums it up. Lise drilled the ball across the box, and Chalobah under pressure turns it into his own net. And that moment just killed any rhythm we are trying to build. And just few minutes later, Moses Caicedo dives in clumsy and gives away a penalty. And you don't do that against Harry Kane, not in Munich, not in a Champions League night. He buries it and suddenly we are 2 down. And to be fair, we showed some fight straight after. Palma, of course it had to be him. Links up with Gusto, smash it into top bin. That's what the guy does. In this big European night, he doesn't shy away. A few minutes after that, I actually believe we could cause problem. But then in the second half, disaster again. Gusto, who has been good going forward, plays a lazy pass and Kane just pounces. Doesn't miss from there. 3-1, game over. And when you look at the numbers, they don't tell the full story. Bayern had 56% ball possession compared to our 44. Then created 4 big chances to our 1. They had 16 shots, we had 9. And then the XG battle. 2.20 for them to 0.65 for us. That's dominance. That's control. We never looked like a side that is going to go toe-to-toe with them for 90 minutes. Yes, Palma nearly grabbed the second, but nearly doesn't cut it at this level. The harsh truth is Bayern we are just sharper, more clinical and more composed. And that's what frustrates me the most. We have got the talent. We have got the players to hurt any team in Europe. But mistakes keep defining our performance. Which brings me to the first thing we learned from today's performance. Defensive disorganization. In a match where Robert Sanchez was honestly one of our best players, it tells you everything you need to know about how poor the rest of the backline was. Finished with a 6.5 rating, made 3 crucial saves, and honestly had no blame for any of the goals. If not for him, this could have been easily 5-1 or even worse. The fact that our goalkeeper was the one keeping us in this game, but ended up conceding 3 goals, showed how disorganized and shaky we were defensively. Let's start with Trevor Chalobah. I don't like digging into him because he has been solid and consistent whenever called upon this season, but this performance was well below his level. 5.4 rating, 3 clearance, 1 interception, and unfortunately the own goal that set the tone for the night. That moment just summed up our names. Instead of composure, we panicked, and against Bayern, you get punished. For a player we usually rely on to bring calmness at the back, this was simply a stinker. Then there is Gusto. He did provide the assist for Palma's goal, gave us a small lifeline, but overall, his performance was really disappointing. He ended with a 6.0 rating, 2 clearance, 3 interception, but the key stat is the 1 error leading to goal. That sloppy back pass in the second half was unforgivable at this level. You can't give someone like Harry Kane chances like that. He will punish you every single time. Then you look at Cucurella and Tosin as well. It wasn't much better. Both struggled to deal with Bayern movement, the rotation, the pace of their wingers, and the way Kane dropped deep to link play. Every time Bayern came forward, it felt like they were going to create a big chance. There was no shape, no communication, and no leadership at the back. The bottom line is this: our defense completely lost its organization, and that's why Sanchez had to keep bailing us out. Which brings me to the second thing we learned: sporting directors and recruitment failures. This is where I have to look beyond players on the pitch, because the truth is this is not just about Chalobah making a mistake or Gusto giving a back pass. This goes deeper, to the people in charge of building the squad. We all know going into this season that our defense needed depth. The moment Levi Kowi picked up that injury, it was obvious we were short in the centre back area. 2 games back to back now and our defensive weakness has been brutally exposed. And you can't say it's surprising. because Enzo Maresca himself made it very clear he wanted a new centre back in the summer. But the sporting director failed him. They failed us. Instead of strengthening where it mattered most, they gambled. They trusted what we had would be enough. And now look, in the biggest game against the very best side in Europe, it's been exposed in the worst way possible. This is where it frustrates me, because you can't expect to compete at Allianz Arena against Bayern Munich of all teams with a patched up and lightweight defense. Recruitment is supposed to anticipate this problem, not wait until it's too late. If you are serious about competing in Champions League, the sporting structure has to do better. Which brings me to the third thing we learned. Cole proved he belongs to this level. Despite how poor we were as a team, there was one player who stood head and shoulder above everyone. Cole, once again in the middle of chaos, he's giving us hope. He scored our only goal of the game with that brilliant finish into the top corner, after linking up nicely with Gusto. And let's not forget, he could have got a second goal if not for the VAR stepping in. And that's how dangerous he was. Every time he touched the ball, you felt like something could happen. Statistically, the number backed it up. A 7.7 so far score rating, 1 goal, 43 touches, 89 pass accuracy, 2 key passes. That's not just decent. That's an elite output in a game where we barely created nothing. But beyond the numbers, the eye test tells you everything. He looked comfortable, confident, and unfazed against one of the best sides in Europe. He wasn't hiding, he wasn't panicking, he was demanding the ball, and he's trying to make things happen. For me, that's a mark of a proper world-class talent. In a match where most of our players shrunk, Palmer stood tall. And the scary thing is that he's just getting started. Which brings me to the fourth thing we learned. Maresca learning curves. Now, I don't think this defeat is on Maresca. Let's be real. What's a manager supposed to do when defenders handed Bayern an own goal, give away a soft penalty, and then make an error that gave Kane his second? Those are individual mistakes, not tactical ones. But at the same time, this is a reminder that Maresca is still a rookie manager at this level. Nights like this are part of his education. The Champions League is brutal. You make one mistake, you get punished. And we didn't just make one, we made 3. And Bayern gladly accepted every single gift. This is our welcome to Champions League moment under Maresca. And while it hurts, it's also a reality check that he and the players needed. He has to learn, just like the squad does. Learn how to manage this game better. Learn how to keep the team calm when things goes against us. And most importantly, learn that mistakes in Europe are fatal. The Premier League lets you get away with bad clearance or sloppy back pass, but the Champions League doesn't. But here's the thing, this is also part of the growth. Maresca project was never going to be perfect from day one. He's building, he's implementing his idea, and now he's getting the harsh lessons that comes with competing against Europe elites. The key is how quickly he adapts and how quickly the team bounces back. Which brings me to the final thing we learned. Manchester United is a must-win. All eyes turns to the weekend against Manchester United, and for me, it's a must-win. I'm hurt by today's performance, but if we don't respond and beat Manchester United, that's where I draw the line. Bayern away is one thing, but in the league we can't afford more slip-up. That game is going to be massive. And with that said, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.